Welcome back to Prime Edition. And of course, as promised you earlier on, I will be speaking to CS Simon Chelugui as he takes us through how, the year has been with regards to cooperatives and MSMEs. The main question that is the Hustler Fund, and of course, the challenges and some of the things that he has learned in this 1 year with regards to the Hustler Fund. And of course, the 3 categories, especially, will be giving you all the insights on that. But for now, let's just take a look at what exactly the Hustler Fund is and how exactly, this particular digital financial institution, that is, it is an initiative designed to improve credit access. The Hustler Fund mainly targets Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, the pillars of this particular Hustler Fund, remember, they are affordable credit, competitive savings and pensions products, comprehensive insurance solutions, access to affordable housing, market linkages, and financial literacy. And lastly, remember, it is suitable for Kenyans who are formally recognized as groups, that is chamas. Now, this is something that we will be giving you an insight on. And remember, the question today is, we are creating a paradigm shift for the bottom-up economic pyramid. And what exactly is this a year on? Is this something that, has been working out? Is this something that has been having a lot of drawbacks, challenges? So some of these details will be given to us by the CS himself, who is already in studio on the other side. So all we need to do is now we're going to be crossing over to the other side and we're going to be starting off this conversation right away. Remember, you can get in touch with us. The hashtag is Prime Edition. Find us on social media at Shiksha Aurora and at KBC Channel 1. Tweet us. Tell us if you have some questions regarding the Hustler Fund. If there's something that you want to understand better regarding borrowing, do talk to us and we'll be passing on those questions to Bwana CS as well. So remember, once again, if you still want to understand the Hustler Fund better, we'll be taking you. That is the digital financial inclusion initiative designed to improve credit access. And the Hustler Fund mainly targets Kenyans who are at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, we'll be starting off this interview immediately with the first question. And I'll be asking Bwana CS to take us through the mandate of the actualization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Welcome to the show, Bwana CS. We hope you've had a great Friday. And we'd like to learn more about, the actualization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that has been very talked about this last year. Okay. So, how are you, sir?
I'm okay.
Sorry, it took me a while to settle down. So, this particular question is something that a lot of Kenyans have been wanting to know, right? The bottom-up economic transformation was quite a priority when we were talking about this last year at the same time during the elections. It's something that, was discussed through and through. And now, a year on, of course, this has been quite a journey for you. So maybe you can take us through the mandate of the actualization and maybe you can give us an insight on the same.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to this studio for giving me an opportunity to really articulate the journey we've traveled as the Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, a ministry that is anchoring the main agenda of this administration. Last year, during the campaigns, as you've rightly said, this issue of empowering Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid was canvassed and discussed widely.
Right.
Kenyans were given choices. And for sure, you remember for 2 years, I served as Minister for Labor and Social Protection. And the numbers that I carry are the real numbers. We have over 18 million Kenyans who are employed, and 15 million of those are informally employed. Actually, they are called hustlers, in other words. These are people who do not have a pay slip, they don't have social protection, social security, they are under. And as such, these people face a number of challenges. 2 key challenges are access to affordable credit and aggregation of their business and markets. So government looked at the situation, and for sure we have a lot of money in the market. Banks have money, donors, financial institutions have been able to push money in this country.
Right.
However, accessing that fund, accessing those monies, have always been characterized by requirements for security, collaterals, and even chattels, which is really very high for common hustlers. So government came up with an initiative, an intervention. And this intervention is not to take away private sector players. The intervention is meant to provide an alternative and possibly encourage the private sector to participate and also move towards the low cost. We started the Hustler Fund on 30th of November last year. It was launched through a big fanfare ceremony at Kenya Railways by His Excellency the President. To date, I'm happy to report we have launched 2 products. The first product, which is personal loan product, has done extremely well. As we speak today, the personal loan product has disbursed 36,309,356,481 as at midday today. We have also received over 25,613,918,861, which is approximately 72%. That is the repayment rate of the Hustler Fund. So the other funds, we have about 21,162,000 Kenyans who have joined this program. Virtually almost all hustlers. We are targeted 22,000 in our projection. But as we speak today, we have about 21 million Kenyans. Our savings component, this product comes with our key focus is to give access to credit, affordable credit, and also begin to move these Kenyans from social protection to social security. We can achieve this by enabling these hustlers, by giving them money. They generate income, they make money, they make profit, and out of that profit, we use that profit to save for them. So every disbursement that we do, we take out 5% and we put it into savings. Savings is divided into 2. We have long-term saving, which is 70%, and you can access it at 60 years.
Actually, that's a question that everybody has been asking. What exactly is that 5% for? Because people have been wondering, why we're not able to access that, and what exactly is the importance of that. So I'm glad that you're talking about that.
So the 5% is we actually creating a pension for this hustler. As we speak today, all hustlers do not have a retirement package.
Absolutely.
Majority of them are now beneficiaries of government initiative of social protection. But with these savings, Kenyans will be able to earn and save their own pension. So currently we are doing what we call credit-led savings. So we give credit and we save for them out there. But going forward, we will be changing that to savings-led credit, meaning we will have built in enough savings to enable these hustlers to borrow. Now, there are 7.5 million Kenyans who come every day at 4 a.m. They borrow money, and by 9 p.m. in the evening, they repay. These are the true hustlers. And these are the hustlers we can offer to the market. We also introduce a fundamental change in how we give credits in Kenya. This is by credit score. So through your character, through your payment and borrowing and repayment, we are able to assess and score every borrower, and from that scoring, we can assign you a limit. That is what we're doing in disbursement of Hustler. Now, on the 1st of June in Embu, during the Madaraka Day, we did launch the second group product. As we speak today, 441,778 groups have been created. And the membership pending approval among them is 506,699. And the approved members in those groups are 1,042,664. So far, we have already disbursed 143,162,250 to the groups that have borrowed. Those who have borrowed are 12,000 groups. The total repayment is 12 million.
Right.
And this loan for groups has a longer tenor and a bigger ticket.
Okay.
So basically, that is the journey we've traveled. We've seen a lot of impact from these small loans, tickets of 500, building up. The highest now borrower is receiving 35,000.
Okay.
And our target of the personal loan product is to give 50,000. And for groups will be ranging between 20,000 and 2 million shillings. So that is basically the journey we've traveled. Kenyans are now beginning to learn and understand financial literacy. We have thought that we have been able to teach them about digital utilization of our digital gadgets.
Right.
Although we don't discriminate between the feature phones and smartphones.
Okay.
All phones can access this fund without necessarily being smart. We are looking forward to partnering with the Ministry of Health to introduce, to support them under universal health care.
Right.
We believe when all these Kenyans are empowered, they're able to invest in their business, they're able to go about their business at affordable rate, they can save more money. And the Hustler Fund can be able to deduct about we are still working on the numbers, between 37 and 70 shillings. That will be sent directly to National Hospital Insurance Fund as a medical insurance and medical bills. We're also working on low-cost housing. Once these Kenyans are empowered and they're able to make money, they can save enough to pay for their low-cost, affordable housing, then we can partner with the Ministry of Housing to afford the hustlers decent homes. So we also have packages coming in, the best packages like education.
Okay.
So going into the future, I look forward to seeing hustlers living a same or equal life. I mean, equity and living a decent life like any other Kenyan. So this empowerment, this facilitation will bring forth many Kenyans into mainstream economic activity.
Right.
These Kenyans can afford taxes, they will afford medical services, they can take their children to better schools like any other person, and they can live a decent life like all Kenyans. That is the dream that Kenya Kwanza have for Kenyans under bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Quite some impressive figures there that you've brought about, and it's nice to see that there has been a substantial growth. But one thing that most Kenyans have been relying on in the past is chamas. That has been our way of life, and that's something that has been inculcated throughout the years and generations. What would you say? Do you think that this particular Hustler Fund is kind of rivaling, the old school ways of chamas? And do you think it's a rival? What would you say about that?
Yeah, I like the word rival because we are changing the way we think and we are disrupting.
Right.
This is a disruptive arrangement, not really to destroy, but to come up with a better way of dealing. Now look, in less than 1 year, 21 million Kenyans can access, and these are real Kenyans because the unique identifier is the ID. Now before, many Kenyans could not manage or access this kind of facility because of the bureaucracy, of the brick and mortar requirement to visit a bank, to meet a customer care officer. Now, in this arrangement of the Hustler Fund, you do not need any engagement with a human.
Okay.
You can manage, process, and apply and receive your loans and repay your loans at the comfort of your, wherever you are, using your phone. So we are not displacing anybody. It is the future.
Okay.
And considering that we have a big telephone and digital penetration in Kenya, we are now beginning to take advantage of these investments we've done as a country. So I really thank, and I'm very happy with my colleague Eliud Owalo, the CS ICT and Innovation, for pushing this digital penetration in the country so that we can ride on that infrastructural development to push other benefits to Kenyans. All Kenyans, if they could be able to access affordable credit and be able to aggregate their markets, and something that I'm going to discuss, that is the cooperative model, being able, by empowering those small-scale businesses and grouping them into cooperatives, we can aggregate their products and deliver them into the market as one. Okay. So all these have symbiotic relationship, and for sure, we look forward that I have seen already many banks advertising along the highways loans lower than 10%.
Yes.
Up to 10 million without security. This is great news. For us, is an intervention. We are not displacing anybody, but we are pushing and trying to intervene and correct a market that had really run away from many Kenyans.
Now, a majority of, micro, small and medium enterprises operating the Kenyan market usually borrow cash that is, from the Hustler Fund, and they do this for consumption in their households. Okay, this is something that we have seen throughout this past 8 months, and this is something that we've actually got information from the FinAccess Micro and Small Enterprises Tracker Survey that was published by the CBK, which reveals that 68.6% of owners who tapped into the kitty during this 8-month period, that is to June this year, actually used this money for, household purposes, while only 18.1% actually use this resource into business use. Now, Bwana CS, this is one of the drawbacks that I'm sure the ministry has been facing, because the truth is, as much as you've mentioned these impressive numbers and the growth, there's also been some drawbacks, some challenges. So apart from this, what the challenges have there been, and how exactly is your ministry going to try and deal with people who are borrowing not for business use but for consumption in the household?
Thank you very much. If you remember, around October last year, over 10 million Kenyans were listed by our credit reference bureaus. Right. Because of the borrowing. They were also borrowing under they were using digital networks to borrow money, just like the Hustler Fund. Now, over that period, almost 7 million Kenyans have been rehabilitated and brought back again to financial system. Okay. That is that's a positive intervention. However, we've also faced some challenges, as you rightly said. One of them, of course, as you put it, is borrowing for household or domestic consumption. Remember, we divided our products into 4. Yes. Number 1 was household or personal loan product, which is basically to take care of your personal needs. Of course. So it's really not, we never intended to ask or demand of these borrowers or define the usage of this money in the first loan product. Basically, that first loan product was to really build a database of the hustlers. So we've known who is where, what do they do, what is their character, borrowing character, how do they repay, are they honest people, are they people of integrity. However, the group loan is now majorly a business loan. So we are putting together 10 members of the hustlers and giving them loans. And they will, in that form, which is digital form and digital certificate, they have to indicate the kind of business. Are you in agriculture? Are you in manufacturing? Are you in service? Are you in maybe wholesaling and trade and retail business? Right. So all that will be able to indicate to us what kind of business these Kenyans are borrowing money for. So the next product will be the MSME loan. Okay. That is a higher ticket amount of money and more specific investment, and as a higher ticket. So we are graduating from the bottom, building up, and the final product will be the startups. We want to participate in acceleration, incubation, and establishment of businesses, and finally incorporating them as medium-sized business, meaning we can even we can do matchmaking, and we can also crowd pool investors into look for angel investors, crowding investments into this sector. So that is the journey. Right now we are at the second stage of our plan. Right. And we believe we are on course. A number of teething issues on the group loans, because formation of groups is not easy. We have almost 10 steps to follow, and all members must agree to borrow, all members must agree to form a group, and sometimes you find one member is slow and therefore a delay in approval of the loans. So that is why the group loan product is not moving fast like the individual. But we are working hard to ensure we sensitize Kenyans, we are able to educate Kenyans on the processes, and you've been seeing billboards around, you've been hearing on our radios, we've been trying to reach out and sensitize Kenyans on exactly how you can form a group, how you can borrow money, how you can pay. On 30th of November this year, the first borrower will be expecting 30% of his savings. Okay. We have put in place systems to ensure that case is smooth, because we deduct their savings digitally, and we expect them also to withdraw their savings digitally. So we are working now on ensuring the system is flawless, and that the hustlers are ready. We promise them that 1 year down the line, you can access your 5%. Okay. Of course, we'll be asking them also if they have paid their current loan. That's actually the next question, because in the Africa Climate Summit, His Excellency President William Ruto actually mentioned that the bad loans in the Hustler Fund is negligible in comparison to the amount that has been borrowed and returned. Now, how exactly is the government planning to ensure that there's a reduction of these bad loans, and of course the levels are actually brought down? One, if you listen to my opening statements, where I said we have disbursed 36 billion and we have received 25 billion. That basically takes us to about 72%. Yes. The other 28%, we also have 1.8 billion in savings. Okay. So that pushes us to almost almost 77%. Right. So we are 23% down. Now, if we break down that 23% into periods, you realize only less than 4 billion is outside the credit period. So I am not worried, because what we are doing is we are also changing our recovery measures. Okay. We are shifting approaches to recovery measures. You remember those days, some other digital lenders would come to your house, they will write you messages, they will write to your mother, they will write to your brother, they will write to your sister, your husband, your wife. Everybody knows you have defaulted 3,000. We will not do those things ourselves, but we want to encourage good character.
Good policy.
Good behavior. And also, we reward good manners. We give you a higher amount, higher ticket.
Yes.
We give you many products so that the good character defines you, encourages you, and defines the way the Hustler Fund is going to be managed and administered.
Okay. Now, let's now shift gears to microfinances, and MFIs have struggled in the past to attract clientele due to the high interest rates and obviously competition from mainstream banks and cheaper digital loans. What is the government doing to kind of repackage the MFIs to actually respond to the current market needs?
One, I think MFIs should be innovative. First, the cost of doing business. Digital technology, ICT, has proven, especially on the Hustler Fund.
Right.
Do you know we don't have any office? Do you know we only have 5 officers in the Hustler Fund? Do you know we have made 0 investment in terms of infrastructure on Hustler Fund? Because we partnered with service providers, we partnered with banks, the core banking, the systems, we've partnered with digital. We have 2 banks. We have Family Bank of Kenya, and we have Kenya Commercial Bank, KCB. And we have the three mobile network operators, Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom. All this, we have partnered and agreed on a package.
Okay.
So we share whatever interest we charge. Actually, we charge 8%. That 8% is shared 50-50 between the fund and the mobile and the service providers, the banks and the mobile network companies. And the 4% that goes to the fund is also divided into 2. 2% will go to the growth of the fund, and 2% will be used for administration of the fund.
Okay.
So that is how so the microfinance institutions should utilize technology. We are now doing very well in Africa and in the world,
yes,
as far as digital internet network penetration is concerned. So that will bring down the cost of services and indirectly allow them to get or afford or do business cheaply. We can also partner many funds in government. We can partner with the MFIs using the Hustler Fund platform. We can enhance and increase beneficiaries. The 7.5 million repeat customers daily are good candidates for MFI. So when we are giving them maximum of 50,000, they can actually match, they can actually double that amount and ensure that more and enable more Kenyans to access. So if they came to us today, the MFI, we have 7.5 million Kenyans we can discuss, we can do business, and we can use the same digital platform to borrow and recover and repay. Yes.
And the one thing that I feel like a lot of people have been wondering, and this question is something that has been passed around, and of course this is because MSMEs are currently the backbone of Kenya's economy. Over 70% of these, they actually don't make it to their 3rd birthdays. And what exactly is the government doing to ensure that the business environment does not choke MSMEs and actually supports them to scale?
Number one, we have had a problem in payments. Many MSMEs have done business, jobs, supplies, contractual businesses to institutions of government and private sector. But as long as we don't streamline the credit period policy in Kenya,
yes,
majority of our MSMEs will continue to suffer.
Okay.
So that is one. So we must first sensitize the national government. We have to limit the period within which we pay the SMEs, the county governments, and also the private sector. I am sure if we, both at national and county government, fix the payment period of these hustlers or this MSME, the private sector will follow suit. So we can catalyze and create a character of dealing with MSMEs in Kenya. So that is one.
Right.
The second issue is training and capacity building. Majority of our MSMEs have low capacity in managing their balancing their credit period, and also their whatever the credit period they offer.
Yes.
Doesn't match the credit period of their supplies. So they are expected all the time to raise cash ahead of receiving payment. So that has always occasioned a cash flow challenge. So we need to build capacity so that they can match or receive payments earlier before settling their debts.
Okay.
Thirdly is affordable credit. We need to agree with our 46 banks and MFIs and all other digital and all other lenders in Kenya on we have to come up with an affirmative action on MSMEs. The rate of borrowing, the amount of borrowing, and since we have built a database, which has been a challenge with the MFI and banks, we now have credits, we have a record, we have data, and we will be working with the Hustler Fund to establish and develop a data analytics program that should be able to, we can offer this information to any lender. May generate money for the Hustler Fund, but also help in developing the sector, the MSME. So if we did that, we could actually ensure that all our MSMEs can go beyond the third year. Finally, is aggregation of markets.
Yes.
We can do a lot as a Ministry of MSME and cooperatives by aggregating their businesses, putting together, so that those, assuming, for example, those involved in groceries, they can aggregate, they can use one lorry, they can transport their wares in one truck, and using economies of scale, we can bring down the cost. And also, they can also, by aggregating them, they can now attract better markets, affordable markets. Through MSEA, we have built cold storage in Olkalau, Timau, and Kisii, for bananas in Kisii, for potatoes in Olkalau, and even for flowers in Timau. The whole objective of this is, and we have lined up others, we have lined up other cold storage. The whole objective of doing this is to aggregate farmers' produce, so that those who are engaged in selling, buying and selling chips,
yes,
the KFCs, the Nando's, and all the fish chips shops, and those who are selling chips can actually go to Olkalau, buy the potatoes, do value addition. Either they are making crisps, they are making chips, or even the flour. They can go there. They now invest in value addition. This will give these farmers better pay, more money, more income, and more wealth. So we contribute. The other thing is the KIPE. We are, through the Ministry of Industry Trade,
yes,
we are building a county industrial program across the 47 counties. And I've seen adverts going out, and tenders have been, where the national government is contributing 250 million, and the county government is contributing 250 million.
Okay.
As we speak today, I've seen the president has been going round,
yes,
and the Minister for Trade have been going round to launch these programs. All these programs are intended to aggregate the SMEs of Kenya within those regions. And these are pioneer industrial activities in some of our counties. So when that happens, then the consumers, takers of these county integrated industrial programs will be able to move away from Nairobi to now the counties. And so if you went to Kisii, if you are doing bananas, you'll find them there. If you're going to counties and the ASAL counties, they are more in beef, hides and skin, and pastoralism. And through the Department of Cooperatives, we are working on a value chain that will empower the pastoralists, that is the beef and leather. We are building feedlots. We are still designing the product, working with the World Bank, and once that product is concluded, we'll do some 5 pilots to see how cooperative movement can manage a feedlot and pushing our country to a beef exporter and also supporting our leather value chain.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bwana Chelugui, for the insight. Quite a lot that you've mentioned, and of course details regarding the products that you are going to be launching. And as we wrap up this particular interview, maybe you could just sum up your year in office under the current regime.
Okay, I've talked about the Hustler Fund, which I believe is now the highlight of our 1 year in office, and I think this administration also. But also on the cooperative department, we've really been on the high gear in pushing the dairy sector. The Kenya Kwanza, in its plan, targets to improve production from 5.2 billion liters per year to 10.2 billion liters per year. And for that to happen, we need to modernize, improve our equipment. Government has allocated already 3.8 billion shillings. We have finished Nyambene milk processing factory. We have finished and launched Kiganjo. We have finished Kinyaururu and ready for launch. And Dandora is ready also. And we are working on phase 2. That will bring Bogotio. That will bring Kabianga. That will bring in Narok.
Okay.
We have hawking of milk in 2 counties, Nakuru and Narok. And once we put up these plans, we will be able to manage and formally bring all our milk products into the processors, So on the dairy sector, we are left with now increasing production. The second thing is we have value chains that have not been organized, although it's a high cash generating value chain. The avocados, macadamia, cashew nuts, and pyrethrum. The cooperative model that brought in and positioned Kenya on top of the world map in coffee and tea needs to apply now in those value chains.
Right.
Finally is the cooperatives, the SACCOs. We are number 7 in the world and number 1 in Africa as far as cooperative SACCOs are concerned. Our cooperative SACCOs have saved assets of 1.5 trillion. They have savings of 1 trillion, and they have a loan book of 980 billion with a membership of 14 million people. We are going to host this year the top CEOs of the world on credit unions, which it's another name used elsewhere in America, Europe, and Canada. They are called credit unions. They will be here in Kenya in November because of our role in the world stage as far as cooperative SACCOs are concerned.
Right.
We will also be hosting the Africa SACCO Association, which will be held in Nairobi next year. That tells you the whole world is now coming to Nairobi, coming to Kenya.
Absolutely. In fact, the Hustler Fund has actually got a lot of eyes, and people from different parts of the world are actually interested if they will also be able to borrow one day.
Yes.
And that's something that we can discuss the next time.
We are happy to share information.
100%.
So basically, as far as that is the journey we've traveled the whole year.
Yes.
And we have other legal, regulatory reforms. We've held the coffee conference. We want to move our coffee production from 50,000 to 200,000 metric tons in 2027. We held a coffee conference in Meru, and we are now busy putting together legal, regulatory, and other operational reforms in the sector. We want to bring back the Coffee Board of Kenya.
Yes.
We have also opened up Nairobi Coffee Exchange to digitalize the exchange. So on the dairy sector, we are having a conference in Nakuru, and we have already done the tea in Kericho. So going forward, we want to revamp and bring back the life we had when all these cooperatives were working. As a ministry, we will ensure that all Kenyans who save through cooperative circles,
yes,
their money is as safe as the shilling in the bank. So that is the assurance I want to give, and I want, when you go to circles, you go there as a member, not as a customer.
Right.
So there is a different treatment, and you manage. There is a free entry, free exit. There is democratic leadership of cooperatives, where every member participates. You have equal share, whether you have 1 million and I have 1 share, you have equal powers. So through that model, you now ensure that the cooperative that you are in is managed well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Bwana Chelugui. It has been quite an in-depth conversation about, of course, the Hustler Fund, which was our main area of conversation, and of course your plans and the new products, the second phase as well, that has been most talked about, and some of the milestones as well that you have brought to our attention. So thank you so much for summing up your 1 year in office, and of course giving us some key highlights of what exactly your ministry and of course the docket has done when it comes to the Hustler Fund and more. Asante sana. We'll definitely be maybe continuing this conversation at a later time, but once again, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure hosting you here. And of course, that's it from this side of the studio, the conversation that I was having with Bwana CS, that is Simon Chelugui of Cooperatives and MSMEs. We'll be doing this another time. Remember, we continue to visit the different ministries and have conversations every single day. We'll continue this conversation on Sunday as well with another of our anchor and of course another CS from another ministry. But for now, it's time to switch gears, and we'll be having another conversation with a Chipukizi later on. But for now, let's quickly take a quick commercial break.